Hello guys, welcome back to my channel SAP Learning Studio. I am Alex D'Souza, and in this video we will learn about SAP RAP Managed Scenarios and how to implement the behavior definition with CRUD operations, everything step by step. In my previous video I explained the basics of RAP structure and how to create CDS views and a simple application also. This is the application which we created, a student application. If you have not watched them, please check them out first. The links are in the description. Today we will create a small application again. Most of the steps are similar to the previous app, but I will repeat the important steps for better understanding. So before we begin, let's understand what is RAP Managed Scenarios. So RAP Managed Scenarios, it's a framework which automatically handles create, update, delete and save functionality. You do not have to write any manual code for it. The RAP framework manages everything for us, and it is mainly used for a greenfield implementation and is recommended as a standard approach in SAP ABAP Cloud because it reduces custom coding, enforces clean architecture, and ensures consistent transactional management without writing any logic to it. And that is why it is called as managed implementation. If you see in our application, this application is only a read-only application, and we cannot insert, update, or delete any of the records. It is just a display only report. So the first step is creating a database table. For this example, I have already created a table and I have named this table as order header table. If you don't know how to create a table, please watch my previous video. I have explained step by step how to create a table. So now let's quickly create a interface view, and we will define a root view entity. Right click on your table name. So this is our table. Right click on it and click on new data definition. As I mentioned earlier, you can use your own prefix. And let's create an interface view, that is a root view entity. Click on next. And let's select the root view entity and click on finish. And we will not have any composition as we are not joining any tables, and no associations as well. Let's add the missing semantics, that is semantics.amount.currency code, and do a control space and give the reference to the currency field and save and activate. So this root view entity, this is the main root of our business object. And if you see semantics.amount.currency code, this will link the amount field with currency. We have to add few more annotations today, and let's add those as well. We will add an annotation for created by, that is semantics.user created by, and we have to keep the value as true. Similarly, we will have one more annotation for created at, that is semantics.system created at, and we have to keep this as well as true. You can always do a control space to get the annotations. And another annotation, that is last change at, so we have to get the last instance, when was it changed. So I also have an annotation for it as well. So this is the annotation, and this will also be true. Activate it. So this is the interface view. that represents the business object structure. The next step is to create a projection view. Now we will create a projection view which is based on our interface view. So let's navigate again to our interface view. This is our interface view. Right click again, click on new data definition, and say projection view. So this is a projection view. To a next, select projection view and click on finish. It will pop an error. It will say root keyword is missing. Since we have defined our interface view as a root view entity, we have to also define this root view entity for our projection view as well. Let's type the root keyword. Again, we have to give, I'll just copy paste the annotation, that is semantic.amount.currency code and the reference field. Now it will show you one warning over here. So we have two options like add provide contract transactional query clause, and for interface clause we will use the query clause and it will automatically add a code. So what is this provider contract transactional query? So it is transactional projection view and it is used in RAP for exposing the business object. So what is a business object or the BO? It is also called as a BO. A business object in SAP is a complete transactional unit that combines the CDS view root entity, that is the data structure, a behavior definition, that is the operations like create, update, delete, and the RAP runtime, which handles the buffering and saving. So in our application, so this particular view, this entity is the business object root, and when user performs any CRUD operations in the Fury app, they are not actually interacting with the business object. They are directly not interacting with the table, database table, while the RAP manages the transactions automatically and supporting CRUD operations and working with RAP transaction engine. And the important points to note here is it must belong to a business object. It cannot be used as a data source for another CDS view, and it replaces the old consumption views used in the classical Fury app programming. So this view is mainly for UI exposure and transactional processing. So let's quickly activate this as well. Once this is activated, now let's create our metadata extension. Navigate again to your CDS view, the consumption view. Right click again and click on new metadata extension. Click on annotate view and click on finish. Just to save the time, I have already written the metadata. I'll simply copy paste it just to save some time. I have already explained each and every line in my previous video, so please make sure you check that out as well. Here it says there's an error and it says add the annotation metadata allow extension to the base view. So click on it and it will automatically add an annotation. So first we have to activate our consumption view. And then activate our metadata extension. Once this is activated, we have to create a behavior definition for the interface view. Now if you notice, in our previous application we had done the same steps till here, but we had not defined any behavior for it, and that is why our report looked like this. Please watch this part carefully where my cursor is at settings. So we will add two more options over here saying create and delete. This is our old application. Now let's go back to our Eclipse and activate. Okay, I missed it. Here we have to define as the core layer and activate your metadata extension as well. Now let's define our behavior definition for the interface view. First we have to define it for our interface view, and then we have to define it for our consumption view. So for both the views we have to define it. So this is our interface view. Right click on it and click on new behavior definition, and we need not name anything. SAP will automatically take it. And the implementation type, you see there is one option as managed and unmanaged. Since this video is for managed scenario, we'll select managed and click on next. Now let's click on finish. A code will be generated, and this is nothing but a managed implementation framework to handle the CRUD operations. So this will handle all your CRUD operations, and this is a class where you can implement any authorization or any validations. The strict 2 is used. There are two levels of strict, that is strict 1 and strict 2. So strict 2 meaning a higher version of strict, and this is nothing but just to add additional validations, to check the validations or to check the syntax. The persistent table, and this is nothing but the database mapping table. The lock master, it locks at the root level, and then we have the create, update and delete options. And this field read only, so whichever field is marked as read only, so that field cannot be modified. For our demo purpose, we are not going to implement any class, since we are going to only implement the basic CRUD operations, that is create, update and delete. Let's remove the strict 2 as well and authorizations as well. And I have already a snippet saved, so I'll use that snippet since I have to do mapping as well. I'll search for my notepad and I'll be using this particular snippet. So here what we have done is we have enabled ETag master. So we have added a code for ETag master, that is locking, doing optimistic locking for last change date. And then we have marked the create by, create at and last change at, these three fields as the read only fields, and we are going to have the create, update and delete operations. And here the mapping is done. In this particular part, mapping is done. So if you notice, this part is nothing, the order underscore id, so this is our database table, and the other one, the order id, this is nothing but our interface view. So we are mapping our database with the interface view. Let's activate this. Our next step is to create a behavior definition for projection view, meaning we have to create for our consumption view as well. So let's go to our consumption view. This is our consumption view. Right click on it and click on new behavior, and by default it will say projection view, and we do not have to change any name. SAP by default it will pick up the name. And if you see, the implementation type is as projection and interface. We are going to use the projection. So click on next and then click on finish again. And this projection, so this behavior belongs to the projection layer. So use create, use update, use delete, so these are the reuse operations from the interface, and no new logic is to be written over here. We have to just go and activate it. Once this is activated, we have to create a service definition. Our next step is to create a service definition. Right click again to your consumption view or the projection view, and then click on new service definition. Give the service definition name. I'll name it as underscore UI since it is a UI application. And service definition. Click on next, click on next, and click on finish. So this will expose our projection view to the outside world. So this expose statement, this will expose our consumption view. And click on activate again. So here comes a final part. We have to create a service binding. So these all steps I have already explained each and every topic step by step in my previous video. So please make sure you watch my previous videos as well. Let's come to our service definition and create a service binding for it. And I'll name it as service binding, and we will use OData v2 services. Click on next. Click on finish. Let's activate this service. And click on publish. So let me give you a quick difference between OData v2 service and OData v4 service. So OData v2 service, it is like a older protocol, but it is widely supported, and it is used in mainly transactional Fury apps. Whereas in v4, it is a newer version. It has better performance, better data handling, and it is recommended for SAP applications. I will soon create a detailed video explaining OData v4 and v2 clearly and how to use it. And after creating the service binding and service definition, like we have to publish our services, let's have a quick recap as well. By the time this service will be published, first we created our table, database table. On top of this database table, we created an interface view. We added the semantics, and these semantics are used because we will we have kept these fields as read only fields. We have marked it as read only fields. If I go back to my behavior definition, if you see, we have added created by, created at, and last change as read only fields. And these fields will be auto populated because of these annotations. That is semantics dot user created by, we have kept it as true. For date and time, we have kept it as true. So once our artifacts are generated and our service is published, we can preview our application. So now once your application has been published, open your application. Now you can see there is a create and delete option which was not available in our previous application. Now let me open that application as well. we had created a student application, and if I preview the application, you can see there is no create and delete options available in this particular report. It is only read only report. Whereas in our new application, we have the create and delete functionalities as well. So let me quickly create one order, and as order type as demo, and the status as open, amount as 100. If you notice, the created by, created at, and last created at, these fields are display only, meaning these fields are read only, and we have defined these fields as read only fields. That is the reason we can see it only as read only fields. We cannot edit those fields. Let's go back to our application again and click on create. Once you click on create, if you see the created by, created at, and last created at, so these three are filled automatically. This happened because we have written the annotations for it. So let's go back to our interface view, and if you see, we have already mentioned the created by, created at, and the last change at, and we have written the annotations and we have enabled it as true. Now let's go back to your application and click on go again. Here you have one entry. Let me create one more entry. I create order as test2, order type as demo2, and status as active. Amount again I'll put 100, and I'll create it. So the create functionality is working. The object is created. Let's go back. The object 2 is created. Now suppose if I want to edit this, I can also click on edit button and click on, I'll just update it. I'll update the status as close, and I'll save it. And we have updated our status as well. And this will not only show on our Fury app, but it will also update our database table. So let's go and see the entries in our database table. We have successfully updated 2 entries in our table. Now if I go and I select one ID and I click on delete, the object was deleted. And let's come to our database table and refresh again. The entry is deleted. So that's it for this video. After creating the service binding and publishing our app, the create, update, and delete is working, and all these CRUD operations are handled automatically by RAP using managed scenarios. We did not write any manual logic for it. If you see, we have just mentioned update, create, and delete. Everything is handled by RAP framework. So what's next? In the next video, we will build a hierarchy level managed scenario app, meaning one header and multiple line items. So make sure you watch that video as well. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to SAP Learning Studio. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.